Hello, good people. This is the Bad Mini Painter, and let's have another go. So I'm still working my way through the Mechanicum battle group that I decided to purchase for reasons unknown. Well, I always liked the Adeptus Mechanicus, but yeah, I thought for the Horus Heresy, gotta be at least as cool. And the models are pretty cool, and the paint scheme, um, it's kind of a grimdark ad mech, so that's kind of fun as well. I have a general plan and theme for all these models regarding the red. So if you've watched one of my other videos, you've seen this. But what I do is I do whole red from AK Interactive as the first layer. Since I don't want the red to be too vibrant, and I want everything to be kind of grimdark, dark, dirty, scratched, all that good stuff. Next, I go in with what I would call a dry smearing of Mephiston Red. This model was incredibly hard to record, like finding the right angle without my fat hand being in the way. But as general, you can see this is what happens. I more or less smear the Mephiston Red on, allowing all the recesses and shadows to be untouched. Next, I go in with the Demon Red from Two Thin Coats and do a proper dry brushing. Yes. And the good things about the first couple of layers is that you don't have to be that careful with what you hit. It's kind of liberating and nice. But as soon as that first layer is down and you have to, hey, now I have to be super careful with the Iron Hand Steel, which I decide to use for all the metal, including the threads, the conveyor belts. What's it called? Tracks. I keep forgetting what you actually call this part on a tank. Yeah, so I'm trying to be careful not to hit the red paint job that is already in place there and looking all kind of nice. And there's a lot of silver on this model. Oh, and something I have to comment. So the model looks cool, right? But it seems like the sides of it has armor plating with these huge gaping holes in it that exposes what looks like engine and electronics. Now, who the hell would build a tank, add armor plating, and then make these big holes? I mean, I can see the idea for the mechanics to have easy access to the engine or just something, I don't know. But for me, it's just like a huge shoot me. I haven't seen the numbers on this model, but I think it should pretty much just blow up if you hit it with a rock. Anywho, covers black for all the wires. Well, more tubes than wires. Yes. And there's this tubing running down front, which I guess probably holds the wires for the lights or something. I don't know. See, sometimes you just have to look at a model and go like, this looks cool, and then don't think anything more about it. As soon as you start thinking, it becomes kind of impractical and ridiculous. Anyway, bright bronze for the bright bronze parts. It's, you add variation, and I kind of have this theme, more or less stolen directly from the box art. But so I select some spots and I give them a layer of bright bronze. Some of it inspired by the box art, and some of it just because I wanted to. So I wonder what the hell they were thinking. Again, this is a really big model, and it's a cool model. It's also kind of weird, but it's big and it's cool. So I guess. Anyway, grimdarking it. So oiled earth from Vallejo, a generous layer, just slapping it on there, letting it run into all the recesses, cracks and nooks around on the model. And I say this every time, but why not repeat myself? I'm good at that. Vallejo's washes are not that heavily pigmented, which means that they will not overshadow or kill the vibrancy of the paint job you have there. Of course, it will dull it down a little bit because it does have pigment, but most of that pigment seems to collect in the recesses where it should be. For the glass windows things, I decided to use Kaldor Sky. It's a nice blue, and it gets the job done, so why not, right? Next, Abaddon Black for the gun casings. And trying to be careful not to hit the metal too bad. For some of the wires on the exposed engine parts, I decided to go with Skulker Yellow from 2 thin coats, and you can barely see what I'm doing because my fat hand is in the way. This model was really hard to record. It was quite fun to paint, but hard to record because it's big. And for the other wire, I decided to go Mephiston Red just for variation. Plus I already had the pot open. And you can see how the wash has collected nicely in all the cracks, almost doing a panel lining without really dulling the red paint job down too much. It's still pretty vibrant. Now, this is my new thing. Uhulu has made these acrylic markers, which is basically paint in a marker. So some details I try to draw on, and it works fairly well. So I'm using the neon blue here, and then I do some highlighting with the light gray. Again, something that works pretty well. I would like a bigger variation in the color line, which I'm sure they're coming up with. Oh, and finally a little white for the windows. Again, applied with a marker instead of a brush. And just giving it a little dab. And now it's time for pigment, because I want to dirty this up. So I have some, I think it's called red rust pigment that I smear all over the tracks, and of course on the side and front and back of the vehicle. You know, wherever dust would fly up and attach itself to the model or to the tank transporter thing. And after doing a heavy layer of that, I take a shade brush, add some water to it, and just dab it, kind of like smear the things in or the pigment in water, and then I dry carefully with a paper towel. And it gives a good effect of old grime. It makes it a little less dusty to look at and more grimy. I kind of like that effect. Anywho, this is the finished result. Yes, I got through it. I'm done. I painted it. You know, with these big models, you can easily add more and more detail, and you can fiddle around with everything. But I'd say going for the kind of dark and dirty look, I'm pretty happy. It's definitely a fun model to paint if you want a slight review. Bit iffy putting it together, but it was a really fun thing to paint. And it's going to look awesome on the battlefield, or in my case, a shelf somewhere in my office. Anywho, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like. If you haven't done so already, subscribe, and have an awesome day. Bye.